Tim Burton's latest project, Wednesday, is the talk of the town. Twitter is praising the show left and right, and critics are in love with Jenna Ortega's portrayal of the Addams family's teenage daughter. Even with its overwhelming hype, the backlash was ready to follow. Several viewers have slammed the series for hiding a controversial message in the show. In this video, because we're going to uncover some hidden racist messages. First of all, why is the series accused of being racist? Soon after the show premiered on Netflix on November 23rd, the director was under fire on social media for the show's racist overtones and characterization of its black characters. Viewers have called out the supposed racist implications of the show. Basically, it involves two black actors who were depicted as bullies and villains of the titular character, Wednesday. The issue involves the casting of black characters. Bianca Barkley, played by Joy Sunday, and Lucas Wilson, played by Iman Marcin. Bianca is the popular mean girl at Nevermore Academy, and Lucas is the wealthy son of a corrupt mayor. Bringing the two characters together, and they love bullying our goth girl in the series. It doesn't end here. The criticism continues to point out that Wilson's on-screen father is also black. He owns Pilgrim World. The museum is a controversial topic itself, considering it celebrates the colonial historic tensions between settlers and Native Americans. Viewers have also criticized the streaming platform, calling it tone-deaf for failing to recognize issues with the portrayals of the characters. According to the New York Post, Tim's immediate rep dismissed the backlash, saying that he won't request the director for a comment on this. Anyway, the show lives on and it remains the second most watched English language show even after 3 weeks of its release. Not to mention, this isn't new for Burton. Now that you've learned about the controversy, let us remind you that Tim, the director of Wednesday, was criticized for racism even on his previous projects. Back in 2016, the filmmaker was accused of racism in his fantasy film, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Samuel L. Jackson claimed that he was the only black actor featured in a Burton film, and that's also a reason he said yes to the role. The actor clarified that it wasn't Tim's fault or an incorrect method of storytelling. It's just how things played out. He continued to call the Corpse Bride director a great guy. And when Bustle asked the 64-year-old filmmaker to address film diversity, he mentioned that he used to watch the Brady Bunch as a child. Then he turned to suggest that they started becoming politically correct when including black and Asian characters. He also stated that he grew up watching blaxploitation movies but didn't ever say there should be more white people in these movies. The legendary director is known for his inclusion of dark style, dark humor, and gothic suburbia in his projects. Now you can even say that he's also known for being racist. Back in the day, his politically correct comment garnered backlash, as well as the way he handled Jackson's comments. Seems like his past, trying to deal with diversity and inclusion, is coming back to haunt him. Now, this is how Twitter reacted to the racist casting. Viewers started noticing the racist undertones of the show, and they instantly took to Twitter to point it out. In a now-deleted tweet, a user explained all her love for Jenna and her portrayal of Wednesday Addams, but they simply hated the fact that all the black people in the show were given terrible characters. Another user encouraged people to boycott the series so that Tim reflects on his racist self. Another watcher pointed out that a few years back, everyone called out the filmmaker for being racist, and now he tried to get rid of that by adding one black girl on Wednesday and then also making her the villain. A user also tweeted that they just realized that the show is from the racist weirdo who thinks he's a lonely outcast. He likes everything black except black people. We can't help but agree with his tweet. It took several projects for him to choose a person of color as the lead actor. A viewer also said that whoever decided to cast a black man as the owner of a Pilgrim amusement park is seriously going to hell. Even after facing the heat, Netflix has estimated that about 150 million households have watched the hit comedy horror series. It's also promising future projects involving spin-offs. Coming up, is the show's casting problematic? A user clapped back at the tweeters that the two bully characters redeemed themselves by the end of the show, and in fact, it's mostly the white characters who turn out to be villains. But still, others couldn't stop calling out the poor casting of the Black Mayor, aka owner of Pilgrim World. The role was clearly written for white actors, not black. Anyway, if you consider other castings, Wednesday is Burton's first film that stars a person of color, POC, as the lead actor. That's right, Jenna Ortega, who plays our goth queen, is of Mexican and Puerto Rican descent. We're so glad that she's getting recognition and praise for her role. With her being a Latin, the U-star is turning the diversity of the show into a non-issue. Plus, we have other POCs on the show, like Puerto Rican actor Luis Guzman on board playing Gomez Addams, and Luyana Unadi Luis Nayowo playing Deputy Richie Santiago. We're still waiting for an official comment from Tim Burton or Netflix itself. Moving on, these popular Netflix shows were full of hidden controversial messages. Let's begin with Dahmer. Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, the true crime series that centers on the life of the infamous American serial killer. It was created by Andy Murphy and Ian Brennan and stars Evan Peters as the lead actor. The limited series was released at a time when the true crime genre was at its peak again, especially with the crime comedy show Only Murders in the Building. One of the most watched series on the platform, it followed Jeffrey as he stalked his 17 young male victims, which ultimately led to his arrest and prosecution. Since its premiere on September 23rd, it gained immense popularity, but with that came criticism, because critics and audiences questioned who needed to get into the mind of a serial killer who targeted young black and brown men. What's more, it's even more horrific Netflix categorized the show in the LGBTQ category. Users were shocked to see the platform labeling the show as an LGBTQ show, considering it shows queer men being murdered. For your information, Netflix did remove the tag later on, but the damage was done. The series also came under fire as several family members of Dahmer's victims have stated that the series re-traumatized them. Moving on, let's talk about 13 Reasons Why. The teen drama show opened up conversations on mental health awareness and suicidal thoughts, but mental health professionals argued that it did more harm than good at the time of its release. Some teens misinterpreted the show's message, thinking that suicide is a good way to deal with people as some form of revenge. Schools had to send letters to parents to keep an eye out for their teens watching the series. The show was produced by actor and singer Selena Gomez, and it included an explicit scene of teen suicide and self-harming. It also includes scenes of abuse, bullying, and substance abuse, basically everything teenagers are exposing themselves to. But that 3-minute-long graphical scene of Hannah's suicide in the bathtub led to controversies, and eventually Netflix deleted that scene. The show centers on a 17-year-old high school student who commits suicide. Before her death, she recorded 13 cassette tapes for 13 people who she thought were the reason behind her decision of ending her own life. Let's talk about 365 Days. The Polish erotic thriller movie is labeled as softcore by several viewers. It's based on a book written by Blanka Lipinska titled 365 Dni. The movie follows a woman working as a sales director. She's kidnapped and assaulted by a mafia boss. Her kidnapper gives her 1 year to fall in love with him, all while she's still kidnapped. Several people have called out the movie for romanticizing Stockholm Syndrome and kidnapping. There was even a petition to Netflix to remove the film as it perpetuates the glamorization of culture. The movie was also slammed by sexual assault survivors, including singer Duffy. She revealed earlier this year that she was drugged, kidnapped, trafficked, and many accused it glorifies trafficking and kidnapping of teens and young adults. Despite the controversy, 365 Days managed to achieve global popularity and stayed in Netflix's top 10 movie charts for several weeks in different regions. Finally, these two super controversial shows. Indian Matchmaking is a reality dating show. It follows a marriage consultant who strives to arrange marriages between Indians and Indian Americans, but the show received backlash right when it was released. Viewers have complained that it's normalizing caste-based discrimination and endorsing gender stereotypes. It's also been accused of promoting archaic ideas and mishandling classism and colorism poorly. We're going to talk about Insatiable next. The show is described as a dark, twisted revenge comedy, centering on an overweight teen who's bullied in school. She's attacked by someone and it lands her with her jaw wired shut for months, and it obviously affects her diet and shrinks her weight. When she returns to school with so much weight loss, she becomes popular and she wants to take revenge on everyone who wronged her. We don't know what the streaming platform was thinking with this one, but just when the trailer was released, Twitter users weren't happy with the theme of the show. Several people realized that watching the show could lead young teens into thinking they should starve themselves and reduce their weight. Critics also said that the show is fatphobic and can be triggering to people who suffer from eating disorders. It's awful that it plays with people's minds, indirectly pushing them to chase unrealistic beauty standards. That's a wrap for this video. Was the casting for Wednesday alright or an issue? Which show or movie do you think has the most controversial message? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video.